No, wait. There are a few inverse polarities going on in that room. Then it seems we know what we're looking for. There's heavy infantry going on in that room. I suggest we stay here. Time to move in. Only if you knew how you would like to die. Old. Something's not right. This is something else. Yeah. It's been over a month. You know, a lot of things been happening. Man, there's been a plethora of things happening going on for the past month. I had a coronavirus scare. I was in quarantine for 14 days. And also, I got a girlfriend, who finally off the market. That was one of the two primary reasons why I was away for a month. Once I got situated, you know, and things, and once I got a little better away from the quarantine, I was going to make a good comeback. And also, you know, I did an evaluation on some of my videos over the past few months, you know, analyzing that, you know, and I came to a realization, you know, you can't do YouTube without having fun. It's expression of of your words. You know, there's going to be some people that will not like your content, even though they follow your work. They'll get tired of you and they unsubscribe to your channel. So you gotta face the hard facts on that. It took me a realization of why I'm doing this. Am I doing this for the views? Am I doing this for the content? Am I really doing this thing to have fun? So took a look in the mirror and I realized that, you know, I want to have fun doing this. I got that little update out the way. I don't really have to do an update video. There's a couple videos I gotta catch up on. I gotta catch up on the Batman trailer. I gotta talk about the Snyder Cut because we finally get that. We finally got the trailer for that movie. But one thing I want to talk about is a review for Tenet. One of my anticipated movies going into 2020. Well, in 2019, it was one of my anticipated movies. I was really excited, and after 5 long months, I finally returned to the theater a couple days ago with my girlfriend. It's great experience to go back to the theater, but a wonderful experience to go with a significant other who loves movies just as you. So I'm definitely enjoying myself then and there. But then I saw Tenet. Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors of all time. Those of you know those you know me, those of you who followed my channel for all these years, you know that I absolutely love Christopher Nolan. He's a great visual director. He's really good of progressing. He's really good of telling his stories in different type of ways that seem a little different from your regular director. And I really like that. Sometimes he takes risks. Some of the risks paid off. Some of the risks didn't really work as planned. Stars John David Washington, the son of Denzel Washington, and Robert Pattinson. Yes, Pattinson. He's our Batman, so I'm gonna call him Robert Pattinson until he's no longer playing Batman. Also, it has Elizabeth I'm not good with names. Elizabeth Abiki. I think that's her name. If I got the name wrong, I want to apologize. I'm not really good with names. And this movie also stars Kenneth Branagh. He's the main villain in this movie. This movie right here is basically stars John David Washington as the protagonist, and he's leaped into a world of espionage and time travel. That's all I really gotta say when it comes to synopsis, because if I delve into the plot, it'll be way too long, and I'm already at 5 minutes as it is. So this movie is pretty much like an experience. Walking out of the theater, I thought to myself like, okay, this movie is different. So I would say that this movie it had a lot of complexity with its plot. Like the first hour going in, it takes time for the plot to develop, but the first 5 minutes, you automatically are just into the movie. The movie starts off in the similar to the way Dunkirk entered. You just enter the event, and there's lots of shit going on, like interesting shit. I absolutely love the visual prowess from Christopher Nolan. Those of you who know me know I'm gonna come all over the visuals. The visuals is just amazing. Orgasmic juice all over in your eyes. This is just a beautiful movie from start to finish, from shot to shot. The way he helmed that camera, the way he directed the movie, as you saw in the skit, the way certain images reverse and go forward in time, and then there's some characters that'll go backward at the same time. And they call it inverse. And I don't want to go in too heavy on that because that goes into spoiler territory. I want to keep that vague as possible. But it revolves around that concept throughout this movie. This is how David Washington, he played the protagonist in this movie, and I thought he did a wonderful job with his role as the main star. You know, he took command of the camera. He did a good job. He really showed the charisma, showed the swag. I was really interested. He had them good fancy ass one-liners, you know, really cool dialogue with his character. Really interesting character. It has some really cool action sequences. Robert Pattinson had a good performance in this movie as well. Has some really cool ass sequences, action sequences revolving around him. He was really cool to look at. Really good to see John David Washington, Robert Pattinson interact on screen. Their chemistry was definitely one of the highlights in this movie. Really cool to look at. Like I said, lots of cool things happening. But that's pretty much it. Lots of cool things happen. Like I said, the visuals, lots of stunning effects, lots of interesting effects revolving around this action and fight sequences. Not as good as the fight sequences in Inception, you know, when they had like different, like when they had the environment like rotate in different angles and stuff. That was really interesting. There was a similar way that Christopher Nolan tried to utilize in this film. That's quite similar to Inception, but he used lots of reverse and then fast forward and then reverse all at the same time. There's really lots of things happening on the screen. So it takes time for you to register, for your mind to register, figure out what is exactly going on while it's doing all that. But still, it's really interesting, cool stuff. This film gave me chills, like to the core, where I felt inspired to make a skit similar to that style that you saw in the film. And those of you who've seen it, I really love the way he like helmed that camera. Like I said, I really love those action sequences. It was really cool. I was mesmerized. But outside of this, that leads into some of the cons. Now, like these cons are pretty much like nitpicks in a sense, only in a way because this film lacks character development. But there is a reason why this film lacks character development, because this film was because Christopher Nolan was telling his story through a non-linear type of fashion. He does that in some of his other films, such as Inception and Dunkirk. When you automatically are entered into the event and you don't really follow the characters, you just basically follow the event of World War II. You follow that story, and that's pretty much what you're getting in this film. You follow this story that's revolving around this woman and revolving around, you know, time travel. And I felt like that the main purpose of this character, the protagonist, I felt like he was more of an object of the movie, if that makes sense. The best way to describe it, his character, is he was a badass character. He was really cool, but there was no development with his character. That it just felt like he was just tacked on only because he's trying to help the woman who's being played by Elizabeth Debicki. If I got the name wrong, please forgive me. And for her, her character had the most development, and she was the heart and soul of the film. So I would say that she was probably the only character the audience will gravitate towards. The only character I seem to really care about, in a sense. I didn't really care much about the main guy because there was no development with his character. His name in the movie is named the protagonist as a reason to it. I feel like he purposely did that. In a sense, he pretty much wanted the audience to focus on the story and the event that's basically transpiring in front of our eyes. And for me, that's a little bit of a disconnect for some people. But for me personally, that's a little bit of disconnect for me, because I didn't really care for what was happening. I don't really care if he died, and I wanted to care for that if he's the main character for the movie. Robert Pattinson in this film, he plays a character named Neo. There was not much development to his character and no purpose to his character. Basically, you won't really figure out the main motivations for certain characters until like the last 30 minutes of the film, but it doesn't really flesh out the main motivation of the protagonist, which basically what I'm trying to say. There is no development with his character, so I felt like there was no purpose of watching these characters. But the only outline of that is I have great visuals to watch. So that's the only reason why I'm just so captivated. Anyway, like I said, that's more of a nitpick, not necessarily a flaw, because he does that in some of his films. Kenneth Branagh was the main villain in this movie. He was just alright. There was this one scene where the camera was panned on his face and doing a slow zoom in, and he was just on the phone, just talking, you know, in a real menace-like manner, you know, just describing how well he's going to kill his victim, describing in detail, and the camera's just slowly zooming in on his face, and he's all really into it, like he's having, like, getting ready to have sex, and just at the moment, like, Kenneth Branagh, he did his thing. The plot does develop his character in a sense, so, but still, he was a decent villain. But I would say that the villain and the main girl, who's being played by Elizabeth Debicki, were the most interesting characters than the main characters. Now, this is kind of weird, but I don't know. This is weird. It's ever since Dunkirk, you know, ever since Dunkirk was a similar way, but it felt like the audio is louder than the actual movie. Like for example, like you can't really hear certain characters when they speak. I noticed, like I had to listen. I had to make sure I listen really closely to hear them speak, because they seem like their voices are a little muffled in this film. And then it just has a loud audio, like sound. The sound's like super loud. This movie is loud as hell, and it just kind of takes away from the voice, from the audio of the characters' voices, where it focused more on the environment, the noise, the sound mixing on the environment, but doesn't really focus on their voices. So you can't really understand what the characters are saying. But it's just kind of a little irritating, because he does that. He did it. This is the second time I'm noticing it in this film. He did it in Dunkirk, because he couldn't understand what Tom Hardy was saying in Dunkirk. And I couldn't understand what the characters were saying in this film. The score was spectacular, done by Ludwig Göransson. He also did The Mandalorian Season 1. Also did Creed and Black Panther. He also won an Oscar for Black Panther as well. So, yeah, he also did the score for this, and he was just amazing. At first, I thought Hans Zimmer did the score, but then when I was looking at the credits, I saw Ludwig Göransson. I instantly had to cheer. I thought Hans Zimmer did it. This movie is definitely a good entertainment movie. You will find yourself really enjoying the action sequences when they occur. You will really find yourself asking yourself a lot of questions, but Christopher Nolan is really good and known for having the mystery effect with his movies. So he really wants the people to talk and have a debate and discussion and theories for the audience to figure out. So that was a purpose of this film, and he does a good job of doing that. This movie is definitely a ride when it comes to the plot. This film lacks character development, so there's going to be some characters you're not really interested in. You will find yourself a little bit bored at times with certain characters, and that doesn't do a lot of development. But still, the outscope, the scale, it's definitely grand, and you will find yourself a good thrilling time, especially watching those visuals. I would say it's one of the better movies of the year, not the best Christopher Nolan film. There are a lot of films that are way better than this film. This film is better than Dunkirk, but outside of Dunkirk, it's kind of better than Prestige, I guess. I will give this movie a Michael Keaton Batman. It's still a good movie, but it's just a little disappointing when it comes to this film comparing to his others, but still, it's still a good time. I still enjoyed myself. You'll find yourself a good, thrilling enjoyment with this film, so definitely go, stay safe, take a risk if you want to, but I recommend you stay safe. Go check out this movie. If you feel the freedom that you will be safe watching this movie, go do that shit as soon as possible. If not, wait till it comes out on DVD and buy it on Blu-ray and take the safest route. Whatever it is, whatever you do, you boo boo boo. So go see this movie. That's my review of Tenet. What are your thoughts of Tenet? Let's talk about it. And I will have more reviews coming up real soon. And I'm still going to drop reviews, but it will take a longer period of time for me to drop my reviews. Thank you for watching. You are the best, and I'll see you guys in the next review. And if you like everything you see and you agree, subscribe to my channel and join me in the Batman family. I have more Batman-tastic reviews in the way. You have been warned. Till then, don't call or come back.